Listen, there's something you need to understand about narcissists. They don't control you with force. They don't need to. They control you with something far more insidious: manipulation, guilt, and obligation. They weave a web of deception so tight that you don't even realize you're trapped until it's too late. And by the time you do, you're no longer the person you once were. So what's the solution? Walking away. And I mean truly walking away, not just physically, but psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. Because here's the truth: narcissists need you more than you need them. They feed on your energy, your attention, your compliance. You are their supply. And when you remove yourself from that equation, their entire illusion crumbles. Narcissists don't rely on brute force to control people. They don't need to. Their power lies in something far more sophisticated, far more insidious: psychological manipulation. It's a slow, methodical process that takes place over time, often so subtly that the person being controlled doesn't even realize what's happening until they are deeply entangled. At the core of their strategy is the ability to distort reality, to make their victims doubt themselves, and to create an environment in which resistance feels not just difficult, but almost impossible. It begins with charm. A narcissist knows exactly how to present themselves as everything you want them to be. They study you, your desires, your insecurities, your fears, and then mirror them back at you, making you feel seen, understood, even admired. It's intoxicating, disarming. This phase is deliberate because it establishes trust. And trust is the foundation upon which their control is built, but trust in their world is not reciprocal. It's a weapon, something to be used against you at the right time. Once they have you hooked, the dynamic begins to shift. Their words become sharper, their behavior more unpredictable. One day they build you up, the next they tear you down. Praise turns into backhanded compliments. Encouragement turns into passive-aggressive remarks. You start feeling off balance, questioning whether you're overreacting. And that's exactly what they want. Because the moment you start doubting your own perceptions, they gain the upper hand. Gaslighting is one of their most effective tactics. They rewrite history, deny things they've said or done, and accuse you of being too sensitive, too emotional, too irrational. They make you question your own memory, your own judgment. And the more you doubt yourself, the more you turn to them for validation. That's the trap. They dismantle your sense of reality, then position themselves as the only person who can clarify it for you. This cycle reinforces their control, making you dependent on them even as they continue to erode your self-worth. Guilt is another tool in their arsenal. They manipulate your sense of responsibility, making you feel that you owe them something, that your actions, your words, even your emotions must be managed in a way that serves their needs. If you assert yourself, they accuse you of being selfish. If you set boundaries, they play the victim, painting you as cruel or ungrateful. You find yourself constantly trying to prove your good intentions, constantly explaining, apologizing, trying to make things right even when you've done nothing wrong. They also manufacture chaos. Narcissists thrive on drama because it keeps you distracted, emotionally exhausted, and too overwhelmed to see the bigger picture. They create conflicts, then position themselves as the only person who can resolve them. And in doing so, they reinforce the illusion that without them, everything will fall apart. Over time, this instability wears you down. You begin to feel that keeping the peace, no matter the cost, is easier than standing up for yourself. And that's the moment when they have you exactly where they want you. Another element of their control is isolation. They subtly undermine your relationships with others, planting doubts about your friends, your family, anyone who might provide you with an outside perspective. They make you feel that no one else truly understands you the way they do. They convince you that the people who care about you are against you, that they are jealous, that they don't have your best interests at heart. This emotional isolation deepens your dependence on them, making it even harder to leave. Through all of this, they maintain an illusion of superiority. They present themselves as the authority on everything: your emotions, your experiences, even your own thoughts. They demand admiration while offering none in return. They expect loyalty while showing none themselves. They insist on being treated with respect, yet they degrade and belittle without hesitation. The hypocrisy is staggering, but by the time you recognize it, you've likely been conditioned to accept it as normal. What makes narcissistic control so effective is that it operates in layers. It's not just one tactic, but a combination: manipulation, gaslighting, guilt, chaos, isolation, all designed to keep you second-guessing yourself. And as long as you continue to engage, as long as you keep seeking their approval or trying to explain yourself, you remain trapped in their game. Because the moment you start questioning yourself instead of questioning them, they've already won. Walking away from a narcissist is not just an act of defiance, it is a profound shift in power dynamics. A narcissist thrives on control, manipulation, and emotional dependency. They need an audience, a source of validation, someone to absorb their toxicity and feed their ego. The moment you remove yourself from that role, the foundation of their power crumbles. They are not as strong as they pretend to be. Their confidence, their superiority, their dominance, it's all an illusion, one that only exists as long as they have people willing to play their game. The second you step away, you disrupt that illusion. And for the first time, they are forced to confront a reality they have spent their entire existence avoiding. They are powerless without a victim. A narcissist relies on engagement. Whether positive or negative, attention is their fuel. They provoke, they insult, they guilt trip, they twist reality, all with the sole purpose of keeping you entangled in their world. The more you defend yourself, the more you argue, the more you explain, the deeper you sink into their trap. Even when you think you are standing up for yourself, you are still playing by their rules. You are still reacting to them, still allowing them to dictate the terms of your emotional and mental state. Walking away is the one thing they cannot counter because it removes their ability to manipulate you. Without you there to respond, to absorb their words, to feed into their delusions, they are left with nothing but themselves. And that is their worst nightmare. When you leave, a narcissist does not simply accept it. They panic. They shift tactics, trying anything and everything to pull you back in. First, they may use charm, offering apologies, making promises, pretending to have changed. If that fails, they turn to guilt, reminding you of everything they have done for you, everything you supposedly owe them. When that doesn't work, they escalate to anger, insults, and even threats. They want you to react. They need you to feel something, whether it's hope, guilt, fear, or rage, because as long as you feel something for them, they still have a hold over you. Indifference, however, is what destroys them. It tells them they no longer matter, that their words, their presence, their entire being no longer has any influence over you. That is the deepest wound you can inflict on a narcissist. The power of walking away is not just in the physical act of leaving, but in the mental and emotional detachment that follows. It is one thing to remove yourself from a narcissist's immediate presence, but true liberation comes when you no longer seek their validation, when you no longer care about their opinions, when their words no longer carry any weight in your mind. Many people walk away physically but remain psychologically trapped, still questioning themselves, still wondering if they made the right decision, still feeling guilty for prioritizing their own well-being. That is the final chain a narcissist has over you, and breaking it requires a deep internal shift. You must recognize that their perception of you is not reality. Their accusations, their insults, their blame, it is all a reflection of them, not you. They project their own insecurities onto you because they cannot face them within themselves. Once you see this clearly, you stop taking their words personally. You stop giving them power. Walking away is not just an escape, it is a declaration of self-respect. It is a refusal to be controlled, to be manipulated, to be diminished. It is an assertion that your life, your emotions, and your future belong to you alone. The reason it is so effective against a narcissist is that they expect compliance. They expect you to keep playing their game, to keep explaining yourself, to keep proving your worth. The moment you refuse to participate, you break the cycle. You show them, and more importantly yourself, that their control was never real. It only existed as long as you allowed it to. The true power has always been yours. And the moment you claim it, the narcissist loses everything. The moment you decide to walk away from a narcissist, they will not let you go easily. Their entire identity is built on control, and your departure threatens that foundation. A narcissist sees relationships not as mutual connections, but as a hierarchy, with them always positioned above you. As long as you are within their grasp, they can manipulate you, extract validation, and maintain the illusion of superiority. The second you decide to leave, that illusion shatters, and they are forced to confront the terrifying reality that they no longer have control over you. This is why they do not simply accept your departure. Instead, they will do everything in their power to pull you back in, using a series of predictable and calculated tactics designed to break your resolve. At first, they may try to charm you. They will act as though they have changed, suddenly becoming the person you once thought they were. They will say all the right things, make promises, offer grand gestures of apology. This is not because they have had a realization or truly value you. It is a strategy. They know that deep down you want to believe them, that you are exhausted from the emotional turmoil, that a part of you still hopes things could be different. They prey on that hope, using it to manipulate you back into their control. But the moment you return, the cycle resumes. The charm is short-lived because it was never real to begin with. If charm does not work, they will switch to guilt. They will remind you of everything they have done for you, painting themselves as the victim. They will twist the narrative to make you feel as though you are abandoning them, that you are selfish for prioritizing yourself. They will bring up past moments where they supposedly helped you, emphasizing how much they have sacrificed for you. This is an attempt to make you doubt yourself, to make you question whether you are doing the right thing by leaving. A narcissist does not feel guilt the way you do, but they understand how to weaponize it against you. They know that if they can make you feel responsible for their well-being, they can manipulate you into staying. When guilt fails, they resort to anger. Their true nature emerges. The kindness and remorse vanish, replaced by insults, accusations, and threats. They will say things designed to hurt you, to attack your deepest insecurities. They may try to intimidate you, instilling fear so that you hesitate to fully detach. This rage is not because they truly hate you, it is because they are losing control. A narcissist thrives on the ability to manipulate and dominate others, and when that power is taken away, they feel exposed and vulnerable. Their anger is a desperate attempt to reassert their influence over you. In some cases, they will alternate between these tactics, shifting unpredictably between charm, guilt, and rage in a frantic attempt to destabilize you. This unpredictability is intentional. When you do not know how they will react next, it keeps you emotionally engaged, making it harder for you to stand firm in your decision. The chaos they create is meant to exhaust you, to make you so mentally drained that giving in feels easier than resisting. This is why many people find themselves trapped in cycles of leaving and returning. It is not a lack of strength, it is a result of calculated psychological manipulation. A narcissist does not want you to walk away because your absence exposes the truth they have spent their entire lives avoiding. They are not as powerful as they pretend to be. They do not actually have control over others unless those people allow it. Their dominance is an illusion, sustained only by the compliance of their victims. When you leave and refuse to return, you force them to face this reality. You remove their source of validation, their ability to manipulate, their sense of superiority. That is why they will fight so hard to keep you entangled, because without you, they are left with nothing but their own emptiness. Choosing yourself after enduring a relationship with a narcissist is not just an act of defiance, it is a necessary step toward reclaiming your own identity. Narcissists work tirelessly to erode their victim's sense of self, making them feel as though their wants, needs, and emotions are insignificant. Over time, this conditioning creates a deep sense of obligation, where prioritizing personal well-being feels selfish or even wrong. This is a carefully crafted illusion, one designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of self-sacrifice, while the narcissist continues to take without giving anything in return. The truth is, choosing yourself is not selfish. It is an act of survival, an essential process of rebuilding after years of being manipulated into believing that your worth is determined by how much you endure. A narcissist's entire strategy depends on keeping you focused on them. They demand your attention, your energy, your emotional labor, all while giving you little to nothing in return. If you ever try to assert your own needs, they twist the situation, making you feel guilty for even considering yourself. They will call you ungrateful, accuse you of abandoning them, or suggest that you are overreacting. This conditioning is deliberate, meant to instill doubt in your mind so that you never question whether the relationship itself is unhealthy. When you finally begin to prioritize yourself, the first challenge is overcoming this deeply ingrained guilt. The discomfort you feel when putting yourself first is not because you are doing something wrong, it is because you have been trained to believe that your needs are secondary. The moment you make the decision to walk away and focus on your well-being, the narcissist will do everything in their power to pull you back. They will attempt to convince you that you are making a mistake, that you are being unreasonable, that you are hurting them. They will use every tactic available: guilt, manipulation, anger, false remorse, all in an effort to make you doubt yourself. This reaction is not because they care about you or value the relationship. It is because they fear losing control. A narcissist does not seek relationships based on mutual respect or love. They seek control, validation, and power. The realization that they no longer have access to your emotions is what truly devastates them. When you choose yourself, you break the cycle. You remove the narcissist's ability to define your worth. You take back the autonomy that was slowly stripped away from you. This is not an easy process. It requires confronting the false narratives that were implanted in your mind, narratives that told you that you were not enough, that you were difficult, that you were responsible for their behavior. These lies are what kept you bound to them, always trying to prove yourself, always trying to earn approval that would never come. Once you recognize that their version of reality was never true, you begin to free yourself from the invisible chains that held you in place. Reclaiming your life after a narcissistic relationship means redefining your sense of self. It means rediscovering your interests, your values, your boundaries. It means learning to trust your own perceptions again, after years of being told that your feelings were wrong or irrational. One of the greatest victories is when you no longer seek their validation, when their words no longer carry weight, when their presence no longer stirs any emotional reaction within you. That is the true measure of healing, not just leaving physically, but detaching emotionally and mentally. The fear of being called selfish is often one of the biggest obstacles to choosing yourself. But what is truly selfish is a person who demands endless sacrifices from others while offering nothing in return. What is selfish is expecting someone to endure manipulation, emotional abuse, and neglect just to satisfy another's ego. Walking away and reclaiming your life is not an act of selfishness, it is an act of courage. It is a declaration that your well-being matters, that your life is yours to live, and that no one has the right to control it. The people who truly care about you will support this decision, and those who do not were never truly invested in your happiness to begin with. Healing from a narcissistic relationship is not a single moment of realization, but a long and often difficult journey. The damage caused by a narcissist does not simply disappear the moment you walk away. The emotional wounds linger, the self-doubt remains, and the conditioned responses they ingrained in you can take time to unravel. It is easy to underestimate how deeply their influence has woven itself into your mind. You may find yourself second-guessing your choices, feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself, or even wondering if you were the problem all along. These thoughts are not your own. They are remnants of the manipulation, echoes of the conditioning that was designed to keep you trapped. Recognizing this is the first step toward true freedom. One of the most difficult aspects of healing is learning to trust yourself again. Narcissists thrive on making you doubt your perceptions, your emotions, and your ability to make decisions. Even after they are gone, their voice may still exist in your mind, making you question your reality. This is why self-reclamation is essential. You must actively work to rebuild your confidence, to remind yourself that your feelings are valid, that your instincts are trustworthy, and that you are capable of making choices that serve your best interests. It is not about seeking revenge or proving them wrong. It is about proving to yourself that you can live a life free from their control, one where your worth is no longer tied to their approval or criticism. Boundaries become one of the most powerful tools in your healing process. A narcissist thrives on the ability to push past limits, to invade your emotional space, to manipulate your sense of obligation. Once you walk away, setting and maintaining boundaries is crucial. This means cutting off contact if possible, refusing to engage in their games, and recognizing that you do not owe them an explanation or justification for your choices. They will test these boundaries. They will attempt to re-enter your life in subtle ways through mutual acquaintances, through sudden apologies, through moments of feigned vulnerability. Each attempt is an effort to regain control, to see if they still have influence over you. Holding firm in your boundaries is not just about keeping them out, it is about reinforcing to yourself that you are in charge of your own life now. There is an unavoidable period of grief that comes with leaving a narcissistic relationship. It is not just mourning the loss of the person, but also the loss of the illusion they created. The person they pretended to be, the future they promised, the moments of fleeting happiness, all of it was a fabrication, but it was one you believed in, one that felt real. Accepting that it was never genuine can be painful. It is natural to want to hold on to the hope that maybe things could have been different, that maybe they could have changed. But the truth is, a narcissist does not change because they do not believe they need to. The only way forward is through acceptance, through understanding that the version of them you loved was a mask, and that your real healing begins when you let go of that illusion completely. As you move forward, self-care takes on a new meaning. It is not just about indulging in temporary comforts, but about truly nurturing yourself in ways that rebuild your sense of self. It means reconnecting with who you were before their influence, or perhaps discovering who you truly are for the first time. It means surrounding yourself with people who genuinely care for you, who support you without conditions, who do not see you as something to control, but as someone to uplift. It means forgiving yourself not for staying, but for not knowing sooner, for not leaving earlier, for the ways you may have sacrificed yourself in an attempt to make things work. The most profound realization that comes with healing is that your strength was always there. The narcissist never truly had power over you. They only had as much control as you gave them. And now, by walking away, by reclaiming your life, by choosing your own well-being, you prove that their grip on you was never as strong as it seemed. They may continue their patterns with others, but you are no longer part of their game. You have stepped out of their world and into your own. And in doing so, you have won the battle they never thought you would fight.